The dust of the high desert training grounds greeted her not with a welcome, but with a wall of skepticism. She stepped off the bus, a simple figure in a landscape of sharp uniforms and sharper attitudes. Her name was Anya, and she carried nothing but a worn duffel bag and a quiet, unshakable resolve. Around her, the air vibrated with the roar of jet engines and the barked commands of instructors. This was the Crucible, the elite academy, where the best of the best were forged into sky warriors. The recruits, all men, sized her up in an instant. Their gazes were a mixture of amusement and disdain. Whispers followed her like a shadow. "Look at her," one muttered. "Is this a joke? Did she get lost on her way to the kitchen?" Another chuckled. "She wouldn't last 5 minutes in the GeForce simulator." They saw her simple dress, her unassuming posture, and drew their conclusions. She was an outsider, an anomaly, a mistake. The commanding officer, a man whose face was a roadmap of 1,000 difficult missions, looked at her paperwork with a deep frown. "Anya Petrova," he said, his voice like gravel, "your file is ... unconventional. This isn't a community college, miss. This is where we train killers of the sky. I don't see anything here that says you belong." Anya met his hardened gaze, her own eyes steady. "With all due respect, sir," she replied softly, "what's on paper isn't the whole story. Just give me a chance to prove it." He scoffed, a short, sharp sound of disbelief. "A chance? We don't give chances. You? Tim. And frankly, I don't see you earning anything but a bus ticket home." The days that followed were a relentless test of her spirit. The physical training was brutal, designed to break even the strongest. She ran until her lungs burned, her face caked with sweat and dust, always trailing behind the pack, but never, ever stopping. In the classroom, the complex physics of aerodynamics and weapons systems were thrown at them like grenades, while others scribbled notes. Anya Lisanet, absorbing everything, her focus absolute. The mockery was constant. During mealtimes, they'd leave a space around her, an island of isolations. In the barracks, her neatly made bunk was a target for pranks. They saw her quietness as weakness, her politeness as fragility. They didn't see the fire banked deep within her, the steel forged in a past they couldn't possibly imagine. They saw a simple woman. They failed to see the pilot. One afternoon, the base was on high alert. A piercing siren blared across the training field. An unscheduled, unidentified aircraft was approaching their airspace fast. Everyone scrambled, radars pinged frantically, and commanders shouted orders, their professional calm cracking under the pressure. The aircraft was a ghost, a phantom moving with impossible speed and grace. It wasn't one of theirs. Then it appeared, a sleek, silver-gray shape that cut through the sky like a razor. An F-22 Raptor, one of the most advanced stealth fighters on the planet. It wasn't supposed to be here. No one at this training facility was cleared to even look at one, let alone fly it. Panic began to ripple through the ranks. Who was in that cockpit? Was this an attack? The Raptor danced in the sky above them. A breathtaking, terrifying display of aerial supremacy. It performed maneuvers that defied physics, moves straight out of a test pilot's wildest dream. The instructors and recruits could only stare, their jaws slack. their earlier arrogance forgotten, replaced by a primal awe and a growing dread. The base commander was on the comms. His voice strained. "Unidentified F-22, you are in restricted airspace. Identify yourself immediately, or you will be engaged." The only reply was a burst of engine roar as the jet climbed vertically, disappearing into the sun. Just as quickly as it appeared, it began its descent. But it wasn't heading for the main runway. It was aiming for their training field, the dusty, unprepared patch of ground right in front of them. It was a suicidal move, landing a multi-million-dollar fighter jet. That was impossible. It was too short, too uneven. "He's going to crash!" someone screamed, but it didn't crash. The landing gear deployed, and with a precision that was nothing short of miraculous, the Raptor touched down. It skimmed the dusty ground, its engines screaming in reverse thrust, kicking up a colossal storm of sand and grit. The entire base was engulfed in a brownout. Soldiers shielded their eyes, their hearts pounding in their chests. The sound was deafening, the sight unbelievable. Then silence. The dust began to settle. The F-22 sat there, majestic and imposing, in the middle of their field, completely unharmed. A collective breath was held across the entire base. Every eye was fixed on the cockpit, waiting to see the godlike pilot who had just performed the impossible. Slowly, the canopy hissed open. A figure, clad in a flight suit and helmet, climbed out. The movements were fluid, economical, and oddly familiar. The figure stood on the wing, silhouetted against the harsh desert sun. The helmet was pulled off. The entire base fell into a stunned, deafening silence. It was air. It was Anya. Her hair, freed from the helmet, blew gently in the breeze she had created. The simple, humble woman they had mocked stood before them, the master of the most advanced killing machine in the sky. She looked down at the sea of shocked faces, the recruits who had laughed at her, the commander who had dismissed her. Her expression wasn't triumphant or arrogant. It was calm, steady, the same quiet resolve she had arrived with. She jumped lightly from the wing, her boots hitting the ground with a soft thud. She walked towards the dumbfounded commander, who was standing frozen, his mouth agape. She stopped in front of him, holding out the helmet. "As I said, sir," she said, her voice still quiet, but now carrying the weight of the sky itself. What's on paper isn't the whole story. In that moment, they didn't see a simple woman. They saw a legend. They saw a pilot. And they, without a shadow of a doubt, that she belonged. She hadn't just earned her chance. She had redefined what was possible. The whispers that followed her now were not of mockery, but of pure, unadulterated awe. The sky had a new warrior, and her name was Anya. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you were inspired by Anya's journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that challenge expectations. Let us know in the comments what you thought of her epic landing. We'll see you in the next one.